I would like to welcome back Michael Mazzella, class of 1990, Director of Athletics, English teacher, boys varsity coach, and parent of two little tigers. And for those of you in the room who thought you were young, or for those of you in the room who thought maybe you were on the older side, imagine this. Mike's children look to graduate Staten Island Academy, class of 2033, and class of 2035. Mike is also the husband of Academy alumnus Jamie Savino Mazzella, class of 94, as he welcomes today Hansae Catlett, class of 2007.
Hi, I'm Mike, Director of Athletics at Staten Island Academy and longtime varsity basketball coach, and it's my honor today to induct Hansae Catlett into the Staten Island Academy Athletic Hall of Fame. After 18 years of coaching the boys varsity team, I've had a number of people ask me, what was the best team I've ever coached? The answer to that question is simple. It was the 2006-2007 team that was led by the best player I've ever coached, Hansae Catlett. A 6'6" athletic forward, Hansae was a remarkable talent on the court, a nightmare matchup for all of our opponents. Too quick and too crafty to be guarded by most big men, and too big and too strong to be guarded by smaller defenders, Hansae could do it all. I could put him anywhere on the floor, even at point guard, where he started for me as an underclassman. He could shoot three-pointers with the best of them, and he loved to throw down a dunk to get the home crowd and his team fired up. Hansae totaled just over 1,600 career points, good for third on the school's and seventh on the island's all-time scoring list. And it should be noted that he did this after missing almost all his freshman year, after he stupidly decided to play goalie on the soccer team that year and ended up breaking his leg. That was perhaps the only stupid thing I ever saw Hansae do. After all, he ended up going to Harvard, and he was probably the smartest player on the court in every game he played. He would also claim to be the best-looking player on the court, but that's a different story for a different day. During his junior year, Hansae's team became the first SIA team to earn a spot in the prestigious NICE's postseason tournament. Winning 3 consecutive road games in 3 straight days, the Tigers made a miraculous run to the NICE's finals, after squeaking by 8th-seeded Dalton, dominating the number 1 seed Long Island Lutheran, and then finishing off Berkeley Carroll, the number 4 seed. Hansae was dominant throughout that tournament. He certainly was a main factor in the Tigers' ascension to one of the top independent school teams in the state. After that magical junior season, Hansae's team won 22 games in his senior year, the second highest total in school history, just behind the 25 games his coach's team won during his senior year. So you see, Hansae, I had more wins than you, even if you might have been better looking than I was. That 2006-2007 season was punctuated by Hansae's turning in one of, if not the top performance in NICE's postseason history. In a classic game that would go into 4 overtimes against our hated rival Martin Luther, Hansae finished with 48 points, 28 rebounds, and 10 assists. It was a tour de force performance in what was Hansae's last high school game, and it was easily the greatest and gutsiest performance I've ever witnessed in the O.J. Buck Gymnasium. But it is what Hansae did after the game, after we had fallen short in our quest for a state title, that revealed as much about him as did his performance on the court that day. Giving me a big hug and almost collapsing with exhaustion, he broke down in tears and actually apologized to me for not doing more to lead his team to a victory. But that's just a humble type of leader that Hansae was. He would never blame teammates, and he would always be his own harshest critic. But to apologize after arguably the greatest performance in boys basketball history at Staten Island Academy, that speaks to Hansae's team-first approach, his humility, and his leadership. The winner of multiple MVP awards, both for his team and for league play, not just in basketball, but also in cross-country and volleyball, Hansae was not just a multi-sport athlete, but a multi-sport star. And his athletic feats would continue in college, where he would go on to row a heavyweight crew at Harvard and lead his team to an Ivy League championship. Additionally, he played rugby and also club basketball, where his team won regional championships and placed third in the national tournament. Hansae Catlett's induction to the Hall of Fame is well-deserved. He was a special talent, and I consider myself lucky to have had the opportunity to coach such a tremendous competitor. An athlete who utilized his talents and his mind to be one of the most unstoppable players in Academy history, Hansae took our program and our team to unparalleled heights. Hansae, congratulations on your induction to the Academy Athletic Hall of Fame. It's reserved for the best of the best, and you certainly fit that description. Thank you.
You there, Hansae? Hansae, where'd you go?
Can you guys?
Now we can. There we go.
Can you hear me now? Okay. You can hear me. Okay, sorry, I have bad service, bad Wi-Fi, so I was dialing into my phone, but that didn't seem to work. Anyways, Maz, thank you for that. I thought I was expecting you to come through with a roast, but you really took it easy on me. And seeing some of those pictures, I think I probably missed the hair the most. Anyways, I'm honestly just so grateful for the opportunity to be able to see so many familiar faces from such a formative time in my life. It's hard to believe that now 14 years later, which is twice the amount of time that I was at SIA, all I feel is just the warmth and love of that experience. And as I was thinking this morning about my memories from my time at SIA, there were three individuals in particular that I remembered clearly. The first was Mr. Rapp. I remember seeing him without fail at every home game, sitting in his chair in the corner of OJ Buck by his office, and just always wanting to impress him on the court. But more than that, I remember him as my first basketball coach in the 6th grade, who helped me learn the game, who led us to our first and only playoff championship in the 6th grade. And I also remember the random occurrence of me getting the number 21 on my first jersey, a number that I carried with me to all sports and all teams, one that became part of all my screen names and usernames and passwords. And now is the year 2021 that I've purposefully chosen for that reason to propose to my girlfriend. And don't worry, she's not here, so she can't hear this. Second is Mr. Mansky. He's my 8th grade basketball coach, but more importantly, my math teacher, my calculus teacher. If there was ever an individual who can make you feel the beauty and awe of the world around you, it was Mr. Mansky. Whether it was a nifty integral or a dandy derivative, I loved math because Mr. Mansky loved math, and he's the reason I ended up studying engineering, but also the reason I ended up studying philosophy, because how he understood and appreciated the world through math made me curious about all the ways one could come to understand and appreciate this world. Last and certainly least is Maz. A highlight, honestly, of these past few weeks has been just the random text exchanges we've been able to have and just getting to reconnect with him again. But the thing about Maz is that while Mr. Rapp gave me my first love of basketball and my last love and my soon-to-be fiance, and Mr. Mansky gave me a sense of awe, My story with Maz is just one of tragedy and sadness. The earliest memory I have of my time with Maz, as he talked about, is when I broke my leg in my ninth grade. In ninth grade, playing soccer, he ran into the field, sat in the ambulance with me on the way to the hospital, and stayed there as the doctor cracked my foot back into place. And afterwards, he joined me in calling soccer the devil's sport, just to validate the feelings of sadness and regret I had about not being able to play my freshman year, which could have been a great year with Stephen Richter, who's another inductee and was a senior at the time. So definitely still the devil's sport, and sorry, Amanda. But that wasn't the end of our series of tragedies. With Maz, we went on to come so close, but ended up losing 3 playoff championship titles, 2 against Friends Seminary, 1 against Martin Luther. And all these years later, I still feel the pain and agony of those games and those losses. But that pain is also the greatest indicator I have of how I know it mattered. There have been honestly few experiences in my life that I've had since that have had even the potential, I think, to make me feel as awful and as sad as those games made me feel. And as awful as that feeling was and is, I know it's one that will bond me and Maz for life, more than the temporary high of winning ever could have. And if there's anything I take from my time at SIA, it's that it all mattered a lot to me, and that it still does, and that it was because of people like Mr. Rapp, Mr. Mansky, and Maz that made it matter. So, more than the Hall of Fame, thanks for giving me this opportunity for closure. But in all honesty, it'll probably take me another decade to get over those losses. But thank you. I'm just so grateful, honestly, that I was able to spend a part of my life with so many of you. So thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike Mazzella, and Hansae, congratulations on being a 2021 Athletic Hall of Fame inductee.